Hello friends, in this session we will discuss about the materials requirement planning. In the last session we have already discussed about the inventory management, that is the EOQ, economic order quantity, and that was used for the independent demand. Now materials requirement planning is used for the dependent demand. That is basic difference between the independent demand and dependent demand. Independent demands means volume of the production is determined using the forecast value, or the order comes from the market. But in the case of the dependent demand, this depends on the demand of the item depends on the demand of the end product or demand of the finished product, that is SKU, store keeping units. So normally material requirements planning is used for the parts, components, or the spare parts used during the production. So this is dependent on the end product or the end volume of the product. So in this case we will see that what are the requirement for the material requirements planning. For material requirements planning, we need the bill of materials, and then forecast value of the end items, that is the demand, then inventory status, then the master production schedule. So these are the requirements for the material requirement planning, and using the master production schedule, we will be able to know that when the particular components is required and what is the lead time of the supply of this component or lead time of the production, so that we can start the activity before that time. And again, inventory status is required, that how much inventory is available, how much amount is receivable in the near future or in the coming days, so that we can place the order considering these amount of the items which are already available in the inventory. So in this case, we can see that how to manage this inventory, and the main purpose of the material requirements planning is to minimize the inventory size and minimize the inventory cost. Material requirement planning is means for determining the number of parts, components, and materials needed to produce a product, and it provides time schedule information specifying when each of the materials, parts, and components should be ordered or produced. This is used for the dependent demand, and it is a software system. If you feed all the different inputs required for the material requirement planning, then we can give the preliminary plan detail from the software very easily. This is just like an example of a bicycle. In this bicycle, we can see that how the product structure is broken into the number of components. There are requirements of the two wheels, and these are the two wheels, and then pedal system and chain, then the triangular frame, seats, and then the handle system. So in this case, you can learn that how to break the product into the smaller components, and we have to give the order for all the different components. And during the assembly period, it is not necessary that all the components will be required at the same time. So according to the schedule, we place the order, and before placing the order we have to see that what is the lead time of the supply also. Now see the second example. This is a speaker system, or you can say sound system, and this final product is A, and this is broken into the different components, and this is broken into the two components, that is sub-assembly B and sub-assembly C. For A, there will be requirement one piece of the A, or one amount of the A. There will be requirement of the two piece of the sub-assembly B and three piece of the sub-assembly C. So this bracket term shows the volume of the particular sub-assembly. Now for one component of the B or one set of the B, there will be requirement of the two components of the E. E indicates the packaging box, and the two components of the D, and D indicates the 12-inch speaker. Now similarly for sub-assembly C, for one sub-assembly C, there will be requirement of the two components of A and two components of E and two components of F. And F consists of one component of G, that is amplifier booster, and two components of D, that is 12-inch speaker. So the first component of A is related to standard 12-inch speaker kit, and second part is related to the sub-assembly of the standard 12-inch speaker kit with amplifier booster. But in first assembly there is no amplifier booster. Second part it has amplifier boosters also. Now, how to do the material requirements planning these assembly? You can see here, this is shown on the 8-week assembly system, that when the particular components is required. Suppose the time is given for the finishing of the A is 8th week or the 8th day. This is given in week, so this is 8th week, and the time to assemble or to process the A after completion of the B will be requirement of the 1 week. Similarly for B it is required 2 weeks. Similarly for C it is 1 week, and for D this is 1 week. For E 2 week, F 2 week. Then this is again I think this should be F and this should be E. This is E, and F 3 week, and G 2 week, D 1 week. So this is given the lead time of the components, that if you place the order or if you process the ordering here, then you will get the complete material of the B after 2 weeks. Similarly, if you start the activity in the second week, then you will get the D components in the third week. So this is the lead time. On the basis of the lead time, we start the activity from the first week, and we can complete this in the 8th week. So this is the time frame of the different components, that when we should place the order, what is the requirement of the lead time to supply or lead time to process. So on the basis of that, we can start the different activities. For example, for G we have to start in the first week. For D we have to start in the third week. Similarly for E we have to start in the third week. You can see here this is in third week, and for E, that is for the sub assembly C, we can again start in the fourth week, and after receiving the E and F, we can start the sub-assembly activity of C in the 6th week, and we will complete the sub-assembly of B and C in the 7th week, and 1 week is required for the sub-assembly A, that is assembly of A, and then in this way we can complete the assembly system or the production system of A in the 8th week. So this is time frame of the product structure. Now in this slide we can see the total number of items required for A. This is 50 items, and the time given is 10 week, and there is demand of the sound system A, that is 50 is the volume number of items A is required in the 10th week. Then how to place the order for the different components or start the activity for the different components of A, so that we will be able to deliver the 50 components, 50 volume of the item A at the end of the 10th week, and this lead time is already given here, which we have already mentioned in the previous slide also. Now how to process it, we can learn here, that in this bracket term, this is shown as a volume required for one piece of the A, and this is for one piece of A, the 3 components of C is required. So in this way all the different components required per unit of the assembly is given here, and you can see that A is required in the 10th week. How many components? Then 50 components, and the lead time of A is given as 1 week. So we should start the processing of A in the 9th week, so that we can supply these 50 components of or 50 pieces of A in the 10th week. And then for B, how much time is required? For B, this must be completed in the 9th week. C must be completed in the 9th week. So see how much B is required for one component of A. two components of B is required for one piece of A. So total 100 piece of B is required for 50 piece of A. So this is the reason that here it is written as 100 piece of B is required in the 9th week, and the lead time of B is given as 2 week. This is 2 week. So we should start the processing of B just in the 7th week. So you can see that in the 7th week the order is already placed, so that this can be received in the 9th week. Similarly, for C item, we can see that 3 components are required for one piece of A. So how many components are required for 50 piece of A? So here there will be requirement of 150. So we can see that this is 150 required in the 9th week, and lead time of C is given as 1 week, only 1 week. So we can start the placing the order in the 8th week. So here in the 8th week, that is only 1 week is the lead time here. 1 week here, there is 2 week lead time. Here this is 1 week lead time. So in this way we have to consider the lead time, and accordingly we have to place the order. Similarly, for D item, there will be requirement of 2 components for one sub-assembly of B. So total 400, it will be required 200. So you can see this is 200. This is required for the sub-assembly B. But D is common item, and this is also required for C. So you can see that for C it is required 600 item, and this is required in 5th week and 3rd week. Similarly, for the E is required for both B and C, but the time is different. So here you can see that the requirement of E is 200 and 300. This is 200 and 300. Lead time is 2 week. For E, this lead time is 2 weeks. So 2 weeks before the order is placed. And for F, similarly, there is only one component F here. There is only one component of F here. So this is used in the sub-assembly C, and for one sub-assembly C there will be requirement of the 2 components of F. That means for 150 it is required 300. So this is 300, and lead time of F is also given as 3 weeks. So this is 3 weeks before the order is placed. Similarly, for G is given here. So in this way we have to place the order considering the lead time, and this is the simplest form of the MRP. Only the order placement and required item is shown, but this may be the complex if we consider the how much order is already placed, how much items are available in the item in the inventory. So we can consider the net requirement here, not only the gross requirement. Here we have considered only the gross requirement. There may be the net requirement, and we will discuss later in the another example. Here you can see that if a spare part is required, then what should we do? Here this is the spare part, and 20B is required just like a spare part, and 15D is required just like a spare part. So here you can see that if 20B is required other than the components of B required for the assembly A, there will be extra, that is additional 20 components of B, and for these 20 components of B there will be requirement of D and E also. So we have to consider for D and E also. For one component of B, 2 component of D is required. So 40 component of D will be required as an additional, and E will be required as an additional as the 20 components of E will be required as an additional part. Similarly, for D item, here 15D is required as a spare part in the 6th day. So we have to consider the 15D as extra part other than the 40D, but the requirement of the 15D is the 6th day. Now we have to see that when the 40D is required, so that we can place the order for 40D as an additional and 15D as an additional. Other than the requirement of the D, which is used in the subassembly of B. Now see this example here. This is a given here that this is a 50 components of A required in the 10th week. This is the 1 week lead time, so in the 9th week we should start this, and this is the 20 components of the additional required for the B in the 8th week, and the lead time is 2 weeks. So this is 20 components of B is to be started, the processing of B is to be started in the 6th week to supply the additional 20 components during the 8th week, and this is 200 components of B. This is required for the assembly of A. This is required for assembly of A, but this is just like a spare part. So if we can show the spare part also in the MRP. Now here you can see that in the 6th week there will be requirement of the 15 additional component of the D. So 40 component of D plus the 15, so this will be the additional total 55, and the lead time is already mentioned as the 3 week, so this is 3 week. So in this way the rest of the items demand are same, but we have to see here only the additional thing. So how much additional components are required? This is the additional components for the spare parts. Okay, so this is the additional components of E also, which is mentioned here during the 6th day. Now the material requirements planning system. Based on the master production schedule, a material requirements planning system creates schedules identifying the specific parts and materials required to produce an item. It determines exact unit number needed. How many units are required exact, we should have the information, and then we should place the order accordingly. Then determines the dates when orders for those materials should be released. Now we have to know the schedule also and the lead time of the supply also. So here this is just like a framework of the MRP system. This is the MRP computer program, and how many input, what type of inputs are required for this MRP system. This is the bill of material. Bill of material means requirement of all the different components, what will be the specification or the different details of the components will be mentioned in the bill of material, and it comes from the engineering design changes. That means the designer gives or manufacturer gives the details of the products and the specification of all the components required. Then the second thing is from orders from known customers, aggregate production plan, forecast of demand. This is the demand of the end product, and this is the master production schedule. Master production schedule is decided on the basis of the demand and the schedule to be supplied this product to the customer or in the market. So on the basis of that, a master production schedule is prepared, which tells about all the production schedule throughout the year of the different components. Then this shows the inventory status, inventory record file, that how many items are already available and how many items are receivable in the coming days. So on the basis of that, we can know that what are the availability, what is the availability of the different components and how many components are to be ordered and when it to be ordered. So this is the MRP system, and these are the inputs required for this MRP system. So basically the first one is bill of material, then master production schedule, then the inventory status. These three components are the very important part of the MRP system, and the output can be given in terms of the primary reports and secondary reports. In primary reports, it is planned order schedule for inventory and production control, and secondary reports are related to exception reports, planning reports, reports for performance control, etc. So these two types of reports are produced in the MRP system. Now in detail about the bill of materials. In the bill of materials, there will be requirement to show that how many materials are required, how many components are required, parts are required, and then production sequence. What will be the sequence, that is in terms of just like a precedence diagram. and then the modular BOM, bill of material, and sub assemblies. These are the information required for the bill of material. Now inventory record file consists of status according to the time buckets. Paging is related to identify each parent items that created demand. That means the end items, and what are the components of these end items. End item creates the demand for the components and parts. So this is required for the bill of material and the inventory status. Now the primary MRP reports. This is the planned orders to be released at a future time. This is just like an output of the MRP system. Order release notice to execute the planned orders. Then changes in due dates of open orders due to rescheduling. Cancellation or suspensions of open order due to cancellation or suspension of open orders on master production schedule. And then inventory status data. So these are the primary MRP reports which are produced from the MRP system. Now secondary reports consist of planning reports, performance reports, and exception reports. Under the planning reports, for example, forecasting inventory requirements over a period of time, and performance reports related to determination of agreement between the actual and program uses. Actual and program uses and costs. Then exception reports used to produce out serious discrepancies such as late or the overdue orders. Now the gross requirements. Additional MRP scheduling terminology. These are some terminology which are used in the MRP scheduling. This is the gross requirement. Gross requirements mean total requirements from the market. Then scheduled receipts, which are to be received in the coming days. Then projected available balance. Then the net requirements. After considering these three things, we have to deduct these two items from the gross requirement, so we can get the net requirement. Then planned order receipt and planned order release, when order will be released and when order will be received. So these are the part of the MRP system. So here you can see that this is just like an example, that this is the X is the end item, and there are two sub-assembly A and B, and for A there will be requirement of C, for B there will be requirement of C and D, and this is the product structure. This is the product structure, and on-hand inventory is shown here. How much inventory is already available. So this must be deducted from the gross requirement, and on the basis of that we can place the rest amount as an order, and then this is lead time given here. So what will be the scenario of this MRP system? We can see here that this is the 45 items. 45 items. Why this is 45 items but the requirement is 95? Because 50 is already available in the inventory. Project available balance. 50 is already available in the inventory, so we must consume 50 which is already available, and rest of the items are to be placed, the order for rest of the items are to be placed, and this is 45. This is the net requirement, and net requirement, the lead time of A is given as 2 weeks here, sorry, X is given as 2 weeks here, so this is placed in the 8 week. Similarly, for now we have to move for the sub-assembly for 45 components of X only, not for the 95 components, because 50 components of X are already available in the inventory. So here you can see that how many A is required. 2 components of A is required for 1 components of X. So this is for 45, 90 components of A is required. But here also 75 components of A is already available in the inventory from the beginning. So we should consume this available item to fulfill the demand of the market. So here the net requirement will be only 15. So we should place the order for 15 only, and the lead time is given as 3 days. So this is placed the order for 5th day. Similarly, there will be requirement of B45B and 25 is already available. So the net item is only 20. So this should be placed the order here 20. For the other assembly, sub-assembly, there may be requirement of this thing. Then we can place accordingly. Here you can see that C is required here. That is the 40 and 45. 40 and 45. 40 is required in 7th week, 45 is required in the 5th week, but 10 is already available in the inventory. So we should consume 10 first. So here we should place the order for 35 only. So net requirement is 35 and we should place 2 days before as a lead time. And the rest amount, this 40 is required. The inventory item is consumed just in the 5th day. So now after 5th day there is no inventory. So we should place the order for all the 40 items here. So you can see that the net requirement on the 7th day is 40. So we should place the order for the C item for 40 components on the 5th day. Similarly for D, there is requirement of the 100 components of D, but already in inventory 20 components are available. So we should place the order for 80 only, and the lead time is 2 days. So we should place the order on the 5th day for the D component. Now we have already shown here, you can see that this is the 45 components of X is required, and this is 45 components of B is required here. So we have already detailed in the discussed in the previous slide. So we should not go in detail about this thing. You can see that for all the components, how many components are required here. This is for the item B, that is B assembly, and D is related to B. Therefore, this is shown by this lining here, that how many components of D is required for the 20 components of B. 20 components of B, and then now the closed loop MRP. The closed loop MRP is a system in which there is a feedback system, that is the closed loop. So this feedback is given from the output of the MRP system. So basically this feedback is given to the production planning, master production schedule, material requirements planning, capacity requirement planning, etc. So this is just like a feedback. And another thing, that is MRP2. MRP2 is nothing but this is the manufacturing resource planning. In the condition of the MRP, we have considered only the requirement of the materials, but here not only the material requirement, there will be requirement of the other resources also. For example, the resources required for the manufacturing, marketing, finance, engineering. So these are considered for the manufacturing resource planning too. And in the other session we will discuss in detail about the MRP2. Here only MRP1. Now thank you, and the material management is completed in 2 parts. First one is related to the EOQ, and second one is related to the MRP. Now we will see you in the next session. Thank you.